Hey, it's Andrew here at Vespa Portland. I wanted to show you a scooter that is incredibly popular here in Portland, probably all across the country, really. It looks great, it's a complete workhorse, it's affordable, there's a ton of accessories you can put on it, and it's just a bike that if you care for it, it will just keep going and serve you very well over the years. This is the genuine Buddy 50. All right, so to get started, everyone wants to know about colors, of course. The Buddy is offered in a ton of colors. You've got, I'm gonna try to remember them all, white, black, titanium, seafoam, lime green, turquoise, tangerine, lavender, and that might be it. Oh, red. And there's also an international series, the Italia, which is a green, two-tone green, and the Pamplona, it's a two-tone cream and dark red. The genuine Buddy only weighs 198 pounds, so it's super light, and most of that weight is down below the seat, down here at the engine, so you have a very low center of gravity. This is real easy for anyone to operate, kind of no matter your size. There's people, you know, down 5'3", 5'2", that are operating Buddies every day and with no issue. This same scooter is available in a 125cc version and a 170cc version. It's the same frame, they just kind of make some adjustments, beef up the suspension a bit, and of course the engine is capable of higher speeds, but it's ergonomically the exact same. We're not going to talk about those scooters in this, we're talking about the 50 specifically, but know that that does exist if you need to go a little faster. So the genuine Buddy comes with a 2-year unlimited mile warranty, and that covers anything that's not a wearable item. So obviously, you know, you get a nail in your tire, that's just bad luck. Brakes are going to wear out eventually, things like that. But you know, engine stuff, parts and labor there, electrical things, you're covered for 2 years. There's also Roadside Assistance, which is pretty nice. There's an 800 number on a warranty sheet that you get when you buy your scooter. And if you have any issues with it, call that number and they'll arrange roadside assistance for you. That includes towing it to your local genuine dealer, which could be us, could be somewhere else in the country. That service is available 24 hours a day. The Buddy 50 has a 2-stroke motor. It makes it very zippy. It's probably the fastest 50cc scooter out. You're going to get easily 30 to 35 miles an hour, you know, restricted version. But if you de-restrict the scooter after your break-in period, you can get up to speeds of like 45, almost 50 miles an hour if you have enough time and road to do so. Of course, you don't have to use that speed if you don't want to. You can stay around the 30 range, but it is available, and it's part of that engine architecture is what allows that to happen. On a 2-stroke scooter, you're going to have to add oil every few gas stops, every 3 to 4 or so. You don't have to mix the oil and the gas. It goes into its own little tank and then it mixes itself, but it is something you got to do, and we'll talk about that later in the video. So also we're saying that this is a carbureted scooter. There are fuel injection systems and there's carbureted systems. This is carbureted in the Buddy 50, so this scooter needs to be ridden. If you let this bike sit, what's going to happen is the temperature changes are going to cause condensation to form on the inside of the fuel tank. That water is going to run down into your gas, cause a reaction there that makes a kind of gummy varnish. And when you turn your scooter on, it will drag all of that through the carburetor. The carburetor jets are only about as thin as a needle, so not a lot of room there. And you'll either get some bogging issues as you're riding, or your bike won't even start because the fuel can't move through the system. Not good. The best defense you have against that is to ride. Scooters don't like to be left, at least carbureted scooters don't like to be left sitting for a long time. The gas can go bad, there's other issues. You want to refresh that fuel system as much as you can, and the best way to do that is to ride your scooter. If you let it sit for a few weeks, a month, longer than that, chances are your carb is going to clog and you're going to have to get that cleaned out before you can use your bike again. It's real frustrating. It happens to even experienced riders, but it's something to be aware of with a carbureted system. Again, go ride. With a carbureted scooter, disuse is abuse. So in Portland, at least, where we have laws that say you can operate these with just a driver's license, the most common Buddy rider in Portland is someone who is using this as their primary transportation, literally racking up thousands and thousands of miles a year. People who don't have a car, they don't want to ride public transportation for whatever reason. They'd rather not ride a bicycle. Maybe they live too far from work. They don't want to show up sweaty, that sort of thing. By far, we see primary transportation as the major use of the Buddy 50 in Portland. In some other cities, they're kind of more like toys. People might have them in the garage for a nice sunny weekend. but here they're definitely relied upon by a lot of people. All right, we'll start out with the dashboard. So first thing, question we get asked all the time, does my scooter actually go 80 miles an hour? It does not. Nobody scooter goes that fast, even if it's the 125 or the 170. They just use this same speedometer in all 3 different bikes. It's cheaper to do it that way than to make a specific speedometer for each different bike. So your scooter is going to go 30 miles an hour in its restricted state. Once your first service is over, if you want to go a little faster, we can de-restrict it for you. You'll get up to the 40 to 45 range, depending on your size and how level the road is and how much road you have to get there. It's not necessarily going to make your scooter more powerful. It just allows it to go a higher speed over time. The next thing we'll look at here is obviously your odometer, 0 miles on this particular scooter. I don't have a battery in this scooter, so I can't show you the lights, but we'll walk through all the things. On this side right here, we've got the high beam indicator. So there'll be a high beam switch on the left side of your handlebars. When you engage that switch, that high beam indicator comes on and lets you know that you're blinding people, at night at least. Some people ride around with it on all day just because they want to be more visible. You know, arguments can be made either way. These 2 arrows right here are turn signal indicators. If your turn signal is on for the left side, obviously the left side will flash. The right side will flash if you have the right side on. Right here is your fuel gauge. Just like any fuel gauge you've ever seen, full and empty. When you get toward the empty side and your light comes on, you still have roughly 20 miles left, so you don't have to race to the gas station, but don't run out of fuel. Not a good thing to do. You don't want to strand yourself. Get over there as quick as you can. The last bit on here is the oil light. This light right here is letting you know that you have very low engine oil. You don't want to wait until this comes on to add oil. You want to do it ahead of time, probably every 3 to 4 gas stops, and I'm probably going to repeat all this a bunch in this video. But once that light comes on, stop and put oil in your scooter. Okay, next up, we're going to talk about the left-hand controls here. So pretty much every scooter or motorcycle in the world has the same stuff here. If this is redundant, sorry, but this is a video mostly for new riders. Right down here, you've got a low beam light, which is your typical headlight, and up here you have high beam. To use that, you just hit the button up or down. The indicator light will pop on the dashboard if you use that. Next up is your turn signals. Like I said, I don't have a battery in here, so I can't show you what that looks like or the sound it makes, but you have a left turn signal, a right turn signal, and a way to cancel it in the middle. On the buddy, it's an audible turn signal. It clicks at you, so you'll definitely know it's on. Remember to turn it off after you've made your turn so a car doesn't think that you're going to do something you're not going to. Below that, you have a horn right there, loud and proud, let people know they've wronged you. Use it often. On the right side of your handlebars, you have the right side handlebar controls. Right here, you've got a kill switch. This is on pretty much any scooter or motorcycle now in the world. What it allows you to do is hit a button and it will kill the power to your scooter in an emergency. Without having to take your hands off the grips. You can, of course, just use the key, but motorcycle safety classes try to get you in the habit of turning your bike off with this. Now remember, when you turn your scooter on, which we'll talk about in a little bit, your kill switch is going to have to be in the on position. That's the version that does not have this X crossing out the loop. Next thing down is the hazard lights. So your buddy comes with hazard lights. It makes the exact same sound as a turn signal. So if you accidentally hit this and you can't tell, you know, why am I canceling my turn signal and it's not turning off, it might be that you turned on the hazard lights. They're going to make all the turn signals on your bike flash at the same time for visibility if you ever need to use that. Right down here is the electric start button. The brake on the right side of your handlebars is the front brake, and the brake on the left side of your handlebars is the rear brake. Just a riding tip for a new rider, new beginning rider. You always want to use both of your brakes, and you want to use them evenly. So when you want to come to a stop, use both of them. Just squeeze them gently, increasing that pressure. Use them both. A lot of people are used to a bicycle where your back brake provides most of the braking power and your front brake is always the one you want to stay away from because you could like flip over. It's opposite on a scooter and motorcycle. Not that you're going to flip over, but your back brake is only going to give you about 30% of your braking power and your front brake is going to give about 70%. The front brake is really your friend, but again, just use them both at the same time to stop safely. All right, moving down from the dashboard, we're going to talk about the controls that are located here on the leg shield. All right, the first thing to know about here is the USB port. So on the older buddies, this was like a 12-volt kind of cigarette lighter style plug-in. On the newer ones, they've gone to a regular USB port. So you can plug in your phone and have it sit down here in your glove box, or maybe you've got it mounted up on the mirror here so you can see maps and navigation. You definitely don't want to leave things plugged into this while your scooter is off because it can drain the battery. But while you're riding, no big deal, plug in, charge it up. Next up, you've got a bag hook right here. You can hang, a little sack of burritos, whatever it is, hang it from there and have it kind of out of your way. The genuine Buddy comes with an open glove box, they call it. It's just this tray right here where you can put some things in there. Obviously, it's not going to be secure if you walk away from it, so don't leave anything valuable inside of that thing. But it's easy to just drop some stuff you can get easy access to right down there. And then on the very far right side, you've got your key. So I'm going to take this out of here just so you can see what the controls are here. It's pretty simple. You have an on position, an off position, and a lock position. This is also where you can pop the seat, but we'll get to that in a sec. Unlike a car, you do not have to just turn this all the way until your bike turns on. You start your bike up here at the handlebars, so when you want to turn your bike on, you just need to click over one spot to the on position, and you're good to go. When you're turning your bike off, obviously click it back to the off, and you can pull the key out at that point. So here's how to get your scooter started. This bike doesn't have a battery in it, so it's not going to actually start when I'm showing you this, but here are the steps. First one is, make sure your kill switch is in the on position. It is a open loop right here. It's not the one with the X. Put that up there. If it's in the off position, just switch it up to the top. Next up, put your key in, turn it to the on position. You don't have to crank it like a car, just click it over once. From there, you have to hold a brake lever. Either one will do. Hold a brake lever in on either side, and then while you're holding that brake lever all the way in, hit your electric start. It won't work if you kind of do this sort of thing. You need to hold it in and then hit the electric start, and your scooter will fire right up. If you're parking in public, one of the most common features on a motorcycle or scooter is a handlebar lock function. Now, how do you use that? When your key is still in the ignition, you turn your bars all the way to the left, and then you just continue to turn the key to that lock position, and then pull the key out, and your handlebars are now locked, and someone's not going to be able to walk away with your bike easily. So the last function of the key is to pop the seat. Now how you do that? You push in on the key, and you turn it toward that locking position, and you can hear that popping noise. That unlocks your seat. Your seat will pop up just like so, and now we'll talk about what's going on under here. So under the seat, you're going to see an included toolkit. It has what you would need to tighten up any of the fasteners on your scooter. You've got helmet posts right here, which allow you to securely hang your helmet off the side of your bike, and when the seat is closed, it holds the strap in place, allows the helmet to sit in this spot right here. Under seat storage, fairly large. It's directly above your engine though, so definitely don't put anything super temperature sensitive in here. This is not where you'd want to put ice cream, but it's a great place for to-go food. Back on the back of your scooter, you've got a fuel cap right here. Now, the fuel cap just turns off like so. Pretty simple. In Oregon, you are actually allowed to pump your own gas on a scooter or motorcycle, so that's kind of nice, especially when the station is full. This scooter is going to require 91 octane fuel or better, and the tank itself is 5 liters or 1.3 gallons. Right here, you've got your oil reservoir. You're going to add your 2-stroke oil in there periodically, and to make sure that you've always got oil in the bike. It's just a 2-cycle oil. And you've got your seat latch right here. So when you do close your seat, which here's the other part of it, don't slam this down, take care of your stuff. Just kind of push it down and then click it to place, and you're good. So under the seat, like we were talking about before, you got that oil reservoir cap. Now, the oil reservoir is going to go straight down for a few inches and then just kind of cut over to the side. So your oil level actually might be just out of sight. When you check your oil level, which you should probably be doing every gas stop, just take a look in there. If you don't see any oil and you want to top it off just a touch, just go real slow. You don't want to overflow the whole system. You're probably going to have to add oil every 3 to 4 gas stops, kind of depending on how you ride, your size, are you full throttle a lot. You can consume more oil in those ways. But definitely keep up on checking your oil. Maybe leave yourself a note in the bucket here that says, check your oil, something like that, until you get in the habit of it. Because it's super important to make sure that your bike runs well. If you run your bike out of oil and something catastrophic happens, Genuine is not going to honor that warranty that we talked about, that 2-year warranty. That is something they expect you to follow up on. So super important. So you're going to want to use a 2-stroke oil for your scooter. You're not going to want to go to Home Depot and use some kind of 2-stroke weed whacker oil. Not good. You're going to want something that's kind of more automotive based. We recommend either the full synthetic Motul 710 or the partially synthetic Motul 510. The 710 full synthetic is going to burn a little cooler and a little cleaner, so that's probably what we'd go with, but in a pinch you can use the 510 as well. Also important is your fuel. In Oregon you can pump this yourself. Obviously with your car you can't do that here, but go very slow when filling up your gas. This is only a 1.3 gallon tank. When your light comes on, you probably still have that 0.3 gallons. So you're only ever going to be adding a gallon or less of gas. If you want to be real safe, just add like, 0.8 gallons, something like that, and go real slow when you put the gas in here. Don't go full blast. You're going to add a gallon quicker than you think. This is a small tank. Air needs to escape as gas is going in, and if you just full blast it, it might cough gas up and make a mess, either on you, on your scooter, or it's on the ground that the attendant has to clean. No fun. Just take it easy on the gas, but remember to use 91 octane or higher. This is a high combustion engine. It wants premium gas, and at 1 gallon, you're talking about $3, to fill up. Super cheap, and you can expect, kind of depending on your size and how you ride, somewhere between 65, 70 to 100 miles per gallon. Someone my size, over 200 pounds, 6 foot tall, I'm probably going to be on the lower end of that spectrum. If you're a small person, 5'3", and you're riding pretty conservatively, you can expect some pretty good mileage. You're talking about like sub $10 a month in gas. Cheap. Obviously that's one of the main draws of a scooter, other than that they're super fun. Next up, we got to talk about tires and tire pressure. So obviously you're not in a car now, right? So you don't have a big cage around you, a bunch of airbags, crumple zones, that sort of thing. Between you and the road is these 2 wheels. And it's very important on any 2-wheeled vehicle to check your air pressure regularly. Some people are very strict about it. They check it every gas stop. Some people check it every couple rides. I'm kind of a once a month kind of person myself. But anyway, you're going to want to check out your air pressure. This is the same valve as you would find on any bicycle that's not a road bike, just kind of like a beach cruiser, BMX bike. It's a Schrader valve. It's the same one that would be on a car. So any of those air pressure checkers that you've got, a little pen size or anything fancier, is going to work on this. Double check front and back air pressure. If you need to add air pressure, you can find out how much you need right here on this VIN tag that's on the bottom of the glove box. Over here on the right side of this, you have your cold inflation pressure. Your front wheel and back wheel need to be at 28 PSI. Follow this, not what is on the tire itself. Sometimes we see people coming in with 60 pounds of pressure, 80 pounds of pressure in the tire, and they're using that because that's what the tire said it should take. Go by what the scooter says, 28 front and back. And outside of safety, an added benefit of checking your tire pressure often is that with the proper inflation, you're going to have better grip on the road, you're going to prolong the length of your tires, and it's just going to be a safer ride. Your tires are too low, you're wearing through grip too fast, you got tire pressure too high, you're not going to get the right grip on the road. Really important to keep this right. I know I keep talking about it. 28 PSI front and back on the Buddy 50. All right, next up we'll talk about the stands that are included with the bike. So much like a bicycle, the Buddy 50 comes with a side stand. The side stand's okay, but just like a bicycle, it's just one point of contact with the ground. So not super sturdy. This is something you might want to use if it's in your garage or if you're just making a very quick stop somewhere. I wouldn't use it for any kind of long-term storage personally, but it's there if you need it. What this bike is currently sitting on is the center stand. And you can see I'm kind of wobbling this bike back and forth and it's not going anywhere. And you can see that there's 2 points of contact there with the ground. So when you take your bike off the stand, you simply push forward and the spring will pull it straight back up. And now the bike is free rolling. When you want to put your stand back down, you want to keep your seat level. Because if you're leaning too far to the left or the right, the 2 points on your stand aren't going to contact the ground properly. You can see I'm leaning too far to the left and the side isn't down and then this side's not down. You want them to both touch and then you just push straight through and your bike goes back on the center stand. When you're parking, pay attention to the surface. Are you on grass? Are you on dirt? Is the pavement even? That sort of thing. Make sure that you're in a safe place where your bike is going to be sturdy when you park it and not just fall over accidentally. You don't want to park on any storm drain, you know, that kind of thing. You want these 2 points of your center stand to be as level as possible so you don't have any accidents. Going back down to the bottom of the bike for a second, we're going to move back here. This is the kickstart. So you actually have a kickstart option still on the scooter despite it also having an electric start. If you need to use the kickstart, put your bike on the center stand, twist this little knob out right here, and push down with your foot until you feel it engage, and then just give it a solid kick right through. 1, 2, maybe 3 times should get your bike rolling again. This is useful if you have left your bike sitting too long and the battery's dead at that point. You can still start it with the kickstart. Next up, these are the passenger foot pegs that exist for the Buddy line. Like I said earlier, they use the same frame for the 125, 170, and 50cc scooter. So there's no change here, right? Well, in Oregon, it's actually illegal to have a passenger on a 50cc scooter. So even though these exist, you're really not supposed to have a passenger. And if you do add a passenger to the 50, you're going to notice that the scooter slows down a ton anyway. So it might not be something you'd want in the first place. While we're down here, the battery is below this floorboard. You would pull this floor mat off, and then you can access the battery there with the toolkit that's underneath your seat. All right, now let's talk about the service interval. So when you're riding your scooter, you're going to have to come in for a first service to make sure everything is breaking in properly. Genuine recommends you do that at about 500 miles. Most shops will tell you about 600 because that kind of follows what Vespa does, and 100 miles isn't a huge deal. Make sure you come in, though, and get that done between 500 and 600 miles. Very important. After that, your service interval on a Buddy 50 is every 1,500 miles, and every 3,000 you'll have to get a major service where the transmission is opened up and the drive belt and rollers are replaced. Keep up on those services for sure, because if you did have some warranty issue for some reason, Genuine's going to want to see records that your services were done properly and that you've been adding oil as you're supposed to kind of approve any warranty claim. For the most part, these things just keep going. There's hundreds and hundreds of them out in Portland now, and we see them come back for routine services, but not much else. Keep your bike in good shape. It'll last you a long time. A buddy of ours, Matt, has an orange Buddy, and he puts something like 6,000 miles a year on it, and that thing is just still rolling. You just treat it right, it'll treat you right. So I'm getting toward the end of my notes here. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. There's a lot of stuff to talk about with any scooter. If you still have questions, go ahead and leave a comment below and we'll answer that for you, or you can give us a call here at the shop. It's 503-222-3779. The MSRP on the Buddy 50 is $1,999. There's always going to be some freight on that, a setup on that, different taxes that exist in your state, and then of course DMV, because these are considered motor vehicles, at least here in Oregon, Washington, California. So they have to have a license plate, you have to have insurance, and you have to drive it as if you're driving a car. No bike lane, no parking on the sidewalk, that sort of thing. So these scooters are typically going to be available for like $2,500, maybe a little higher depending on the place. They're incredibly affordable, especially if you use the financing options that Genuine has available through Sheffield Financial, which is who they use nationally for financing. The manufacturers buy the rates down quite a bit, and you can get onto a Buddy pretty cheaply. I've seen the lowest price like $55 a month up to like $100. So you're talking like a cell phone range to have a way to get around. Not too shabby. Insurance is of course cheap too, because these things are not cars, they're not super expensive, and pretty easy to ride. There's also plenty of accessories available for this scooter. And so what you can see here is that we have two things that are not exactly stock. So we actually added black mirrors onto this because it just looks great. They come with chrome mirrors that would match the bezel, but there's enough black on the bike to where you can add some black and it looks cool. We also put a rack on the back of all of our scooters. We used to not, but then just seeing that basically every Buddy rider in the city, this is their only transportation, having a rack is incredibly useful. And I think the Genuine racks are like $79. So if you have a rack on the back of a bike and you finance it, you're talking a few bucks a month to be able to carry stuff. Always useful, so that's why we add it. We probably have one person a year who says, I don't really need the rack. Everyone else goes, give me that. But there's a ton of other accessories available too. You can add front racks, windscreens, flat rack, top case for luggage, cowl guards to keep people from banging into your bike and damaging it, passenger foot pegs, all sorts of stuff, baskets, bags. There's a lot you can do, and all the accessories available through Genuine are all actually pretty affordable. It's kind of nice. So there's a ton of options there to make the scooter more functional or just kind of more aesthetically, uniquely yours. So that's about it. This is the Genuine Buddy 50. Super popular bike. Looks good. Super workhorse. You're going to see these at rental places all over the country. We used to have a rental place here in Portland. They closed, but they had all buddies. You'll see them in Hawaii if you get a rental scooter, Palm Springs, etc. Just a solid bike. We've always got a good selection of buddies here at Vespa Portland, including a lot of colors. We usually have at least 6 of the 9 available colors. Right now we have them all, I think. But I'd say turquoise, seafoam, lavender, and tangerine are the most popular by far, followed by white. So we always keep those ones in. If you're looking for a scooter that is really reliable, looks great, easy to own, can kind of park it anywhere, kind of get away with some things in some situations, the Buddy 50 might be for you, and we've got a ton of them. This is Andrew here at Vespa Portland. We'll see you next time.